jumpers and corduroy trousers at the ready. Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 James Acaster moments. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. James Acaster is one of the UK's fastest rising comedians after taking up comedy because he didn't have anything else to do. For this list, we're focusing on his most memorable moments from stand-up performances, panel shows and other public appearances. Number 10. Slang, James Acaster at the Comedy Store. Back in early 2016, Acaster found himself trapped in New York by the storms that hit the US and made headlines worldwide. But the less than perfect weather clearly didn't dampen his affection for all things American. In this routine, he treads controversial territory by arguing that US slang is cooler than UK slang. But it is hard to disagree with his reasons. A year later, an Acaster makes his US TV debut on the talk show Conan. So look out, America, because this lad's likely to stick around.
I don't make any apologies, we love apricots. We have that and Brexit is all we love.
Number 9. People are not a fruit, Dave talks. Next, Acaster is one of 8 top comedians asked by TV channel Dave to give a TED Talk, a spoof lecture with the tagline, "Ideas no one needs."
A tomato, which most of you categorise as a vegetable, is in fact a member of the fruit family.
The brilliance of Acaster's routine lies principally in the contrast between the absurdity of his words and the seriousness of his delivery.
In fact, all of these vegetables are in fact fruits.
He demonstrates a showman's use of gesticulation and also throws in a scattering of hilarious prop fails. Spare a thought for the members of his audience though, who had to sit through the talk without laughing.
Just because something's not a vegetable doesn't mean it is a fruit. There was an in-between world.
Number 8. Leadership, Edinburgh Comedy Fest Live. James's performance at the Edinburgh Fringe have won him a record 5 nominations for the Edinburgh Comedy Award.
Leadership, it looks fun, it's stressful. It's like if you ever see anyone leading a conga.
And if the sight of Acaster doing the conga doesn't get you laughing, wait until you hear his take on the dangers of breaking away from the dance.
I never asked for any of this. Oh God, I miss my family.
Then, with the dancing finally behind him, he takes us through his difficulties learning pool. This routine now forms part of Acaster's show Recognise, and the material from it was later recorded for Netflix and broadcast in early 2018.
That's hard though, before you even start. Got to set the balls up in that triangle. Don't know what order they're meant to go in.
Number 7. Career Choices, Opening Night Comedy All-Stars Super Show. The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is the 3rd largest event of its type in the world, and Acaster regularly takes it by storm.
Finally figured out what I want to do in my life. I want to be an ice cream man. Big time.
In a typically quirky routine, the comedian tells us what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And, spoiler alert, he doesn't want to be a comedian.
Tried to learn the acoustic guitar recently. That's hard. Just practicing away, drop my plectrum down that hole in the middle. Irretrievable.
Unfortunately, it seems a career in music isn't on the cards either, judging by his experiences when trying to play an instrument. Perhaps he should stick to playing air guitar, or even find work as a dancer.
This is the main dance move I do at a rave. I just do this all night.
Number 6. Lads Night Out, Chris Ramsey's Stand-Up Central. Acaster claims his breakthrough in stand-up came when he realised he wasn't cool, so you might not expect him to set his material in a nightclub.
I went on a lads' night out recently, which sounds made up, but it happened.
This routine, however, revolves around a man cheating on his partner, then trying to justify his behaviour with the phrase,
"There's so many fit birds in this nightclub. And you wouldn't bring an apple to an orchard, would you?"
Acaster has since revealed that the story was based on a real-life event, but admitted to changing some of the details, not to protect the people involved, but to protect himself from the people involved.
And when you're in an orchard surrounded by apples, the rules are very different, you got to admit that.
Number 5. The Christmas Tree, Mock the Week. James is a well-established regular on various panel shows, but he's probably best known for his appearances on Mock the Week. Here he tells the story of his struggles to buy a Christmas tree at his local Budgeons.
Got the barcode off, went in, paid for it, came all the way out, and the tree had gone.
But what should be a festive experience becomes anything but, as he hunts down the family who have bagged the tree he wanted. but when he confronts the father, he finds him unapologetic.
And he picked up his lasagna, and he looked at the back of it and went, just checking you didn't steal the barcode off my lasagna as well.
James eventually gets his tree back, but not before tarnishing Christmas for the family's 2 young children. Does he care though?
So I saw them all sad, and I was like, them. And then I turned.
Number 4, Cheese Graters Mock the Week. This was Acaster's first time on Mock the Week, and in the stand-up round, he takes an especially unusual approach to the topic of adventure. James takes observational comedy to new extremes of triviality, as he spends the entire routine complaining about one of his many minor grievances with everyday life: cheese graters.
I'm not a very adventurous person. I've only ever used one side of a cheese grater.
Acaster has said that he thinks he's funnier when in deadpan mode, and his stony-faced delivery has both the audience and his fellow panelists applauding.
Interestingly, the only thing rough enough to wash a cheese grater is a second cheese grater.
Number 3, Archenemy, Would I Lie to You? In this round of the popular BBC panel show, each of the members of one team must explain their relationship to a special guest.
This is Mick, and for 6 months, he was my sworn enemy when a practical joke got out of hand.
And James has a predictably strange tale to tell about Mick, with the details causing David Mitchell's team to descend into hysterics.
He put cabbage leaves in my bed.
Acaster delivers an assured performance, stumbling over the facts just enough to suggest he's making things up as he goes along.
How do you know him?
I know his dad. He's his son.
And whilst Mick may have fired the first shots in the conflict, Acaster takes revenge in spectacular style.
So, did you retaliate?
Absolutely did. I removed all of his belongings from his bedroom and replaced them with cabbages.
So, was the story true?
Here's the proof that is what James did to Mick's bedroom. Thank you very much, Mick.
Number 2, Skydiving Sunday Brunch. At the age of 17, before his big break into full-time comedy, Acaster worked part-time in a professional kitchen. So, naturally he was once also a guest on this Channel 4 cookery show. In this clip, he reveals how he once became bored with life and so decided to go on a sponsored skydive.
Often attached to a professional skydiving instructor, make sure that that particular person isn't so jazzed about doing a skydive that it's overwhelming for you to have them on your back.
Unsurprisingly, things didn't go to plan, not least when he started feeling queasy.
Now, I had to tell him that I was feeling queasy, and they don't like hearing that. If you tell them you're feeling queasy, especially a guy like him, he threw a salt.
An anecdote which previously featured in Josh Widdicombe's XFM podcast and was included in Acaster's best-selling book, Classic Scrapes, it's parachute perfection. Or not. And then I kind of passed out on it, and then someone rushed over and they took a photo of us, which my mum bought for £5, by the way. Number 1, A Night in a Bush, Would I Lie to You? Vintage Acaster to finish, and another story which also features in his Classic Scrapes collection. Fortunately, David Mitchell's team hadn't heard of this particular escapade, and so proceed to quiz James with evidently increasing skepticism. I'll level with you, David. The amount of time it took me to decide to sleep in the bush was embarrassingly short. And just when you think the tale cannot get any more bizarre, he reveals this. And I was in the bush, and at the time I was wearing a red dress. Then this.
The hoodlums had moved on, they didn't beat you up.
I tricked them, I put the bag over my head.
It's easily one of the strangest stories ever told on the show, but did David Mitchell's team sniff out the truth?
Was it true, or was it a lie?
It's true.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for more great content.